notice that the top 25 times they messed with Hulk and instantly regretted it.
Is that all you got?
Just like any other battle from the movies, you can throw every weapon imaginable at the Hulk, but taking down Edward Norton's version is a completely different challenge. His lengthy showdown against the military served as a terrifying display of his raw strength and the destruction he could unleash whenever he stopped holding back. And honestly, it still felt like he was showing restraint, because several moments hinted that things could have become far worse. From his explosive transformation escape to tearing apart the sonic cannons and the humiliating kick he delivered to Blonsky at the end, the Hulk was pure menace throughout. He may not say much, but his action delivered a clear message. Never challenge a being that powerful. Remember when Thanos claimed he used the Infinity Stones to destroy the Infinity Stones? Well, the Hulk pulled off his own version of that trick back in 2003. The battle with the military tanks was fairly routine by Hulk standards, with the Green Goliath smashing through heavily armed vehicles like they were made of paper. Even taking a direct tank shell barely slowed him down, serving as nothing more than a temporary annoyance actually. But the most memorable part came when Hulk tore pieces of destroyed tanks and used those very parts as weapons against the remaining ones. I mean, by the time the dust settled, there was only one true tank left standing on the battlefield, the Hulk himself. I may not be the biggest supporter of Smart Hulk, but I have to give him credit for accomplishing something that seemed impossible. The reversal of the event that left millions of fans devastated at the end of Infinity War. The blip, as the MCU refers to it, was the most disastrous event in its history, at least until She-Hulk decided to rewrite the rules of the universe. But the hero who truly brought everyone back was Bruce Banner, who wielded the Infinity Stones and performed the snap that undid Thanos' greatest victory. However, handling that kind of cosmic power required strength beyond what most beings could even comprehend. Even the mighty Hulk struggled immensely, with the overwhelming energy of the stones causing him unbearable agony. Despite that pain though, he endured the suffering and succeeded where countless others would have failed. If someone can reverse the work of a devil like Thanos, perhaps they deserve to be called a god themselves.
But I need the other guy.
The Hulk is usually all about smash this and smash that, but this time he discovers a completely different interpretation of the word. And honestly, if Scarlett Johansson is the one introducing you to that meaning, then you might just be the luckiest creature alive, whether you're a human or a giant green monster. Of course, that moment of peace didn't last long, as the transformation soon unleashed a furious Hulk who tore through Ultron's robotic army like they were nothing more than cheap toys. I mean, how often do you witness an army of advanced machines turning around and running away in fear? That's the kind of terrifying presence the Hulk brings to the battlefield. When the Green Goliath enters the fight, even emotionless robots suddenly discover what fear feels like.
Let's finish the job.
Here. And Hulk. Smash.
There's nothing better than starting your day with a wholesome smile, even if it comes from a guy who can make the biggest Giga Chad think twice before challenging him. The second Captain America gave Hulk permission to smash whatever he wanted, he understood the mission immediately and charged into action quicker than Usain Bolt crossing the finishing line. Taking down the Chitauri army was never going to be a difficult task for a being with his level of strength, but watching the Green Goliath tear through their forces was pure entertainment. Even when an entire fleet later opened fire on them, the moment felt incredibly iconic. because Hulk didn't look like someone who was losing the battle. Instead, he reacted like a giant being mildly irritated by a swarm of annoying flies. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe and become a member for early access to our videos. You can argue all day about whether She-Hulk was naturally better at controlling her abilities, but this scene reminded everyone who the original monster was. Jennifer Walters has been showing off her skills and proving she could match Bruce in several areas, but the moment the fight got a little serious, Smart Hulk decided it was time to teach his cousin a lesson. With almost effortless strength, he grabbed She-Hulk and tossed her away like she weighed absolutely nothing. The funniest part was that there was no anger or rage behind the move. It was just Bruce casually reminding everyone that decades of experience and countless battles against aliens, gods, and monsters make a massive difference. She may have inherited Hulk's powers, but when it comes to raw combat experience, the Green Goliath was still in a league of his own.
Okay, I wanted to do it a little. Why wouldn't you listen to someone who's been through all this before?
It's honestly disappointing to look back at this version of the Hulk knowing how much his personality would soften in the movies that followed. Mark Ruffalo's first transformation into the angry green giant was terrifying, powerful, and initially felt like the perfect reinvention of the character. Loki's scheme finally paying off by unleashing a completely uncontrollable Hulk was executed brilliantly, with the scene delivering tension, chaos, and some genuinely intimidating moments. Watching him hunt down Black Widow and leave her absolutely terrified feels especially ironic when you consider their later relationship. Then came the highlight, which had to be Hulk leaping onto the shield jet and tearing it apart piece by piece, while the panicked pilot yelled, "Target angry!"
Target angry, target angry!
It was the perfect combination of action, humor, and chaos that made the MCU such a phenomenon leading up to Endgame.
We are not your enemy's banner. Try to think!
Some people might argue that this entry is a little unfair because of the way the fight ended and how Thor was handled, but come on, we're talking about the Hulk going toe-to-toe with an actual god, so it absolutely deserves a spot in the top 5. For most of the battle, Hulk was straight up dominating and looked ready to send the God of Thunder back to Odin. Of course, Thor then remembered he had lightning powers and unlocked his own next level, but even that didn't completely turn the tables. Hulk could be controlling the fight for the majority of the time, and even after taking a blast from Thor's awakened power, he wasn't exactly finished. He looked ready to continue until the Grandmaster's cheap intervention ended the match. I also have to mention how good the gladiator armor looked on Hulk. It gave him the presence of a final boss stepping into the arena. Personally, I still believe the earlier MCU version of Hulk was toned down a lot over the years, and if that original monster had remained consistent, he might have even won after Thor's power up, but that's a debate for another day. Hulk and Thor have a very interesting friendship, but for now we have the angry green giant and the God of Thunder absolutely tearing through the Chitauri forces during the Battle of New York. The scene delivered everything fans wanted. Massive action, incredible teamwork, and two of the strongest Avengers fighting side by side. Their battle on top of a Leviathan was especially satisfying. The Chitauri soldiers themselves weren't nearly as dangerous as the giant creature carrying them, but their sheer numbers still made the feat impressive. The best part arrives once they finish clearing out the enemies and pause to admire their work. Thor is standing there enjoying the moment, but Hulk clearly isn't interested in sharing the glory. Without any warning, he casually swats the God of Thunder aside like he's an annoying fly. Getting disrespected like that would hurt anyone's ego, but doing it to a literal god is an all-time flex. Then again, Hulk was probably still remembering those earlier encounters with Mjolnir and decided it was finally payback time. You don't walk up to Bruce Banner, throw a few punches at him, and expect the situation to end well. Talbot made the mistake of thinking he could bully the man without awakening the monster inside him, and that arrogance cost him dearly. It all begins with Bruce giving him the famous warning that he's making him angry, a line that should have been enough for anyone with common sense to just back off. Of course, Talbot didn't listen, which led to a terrifying transformation as Hulk emerges and sends him flying out of the house with a single blow. From there, Hulk turns the entire place into his playground, causing destruction everywhere he goes. The craziest part, that getting shot only makes him grow even larger, as if he's treating the attack less like a threat and more like an opportunity to prove how unstoppable he really is. At this stage, it almost feels like he's showing everyone just how far his power can go.
You know, with the benefit of hindsight,
This moment is both hilarious and ridiculously satisfying. After Thor, Iron Man and Vision combine their powers to burn away Ultron's vibranium shell, the villain is already hanging on by a thread. But before anyone else can take the final moment, Hulk steps in and reminds everyone why he's the Avengers' ultimate wrecking machine. With one simple strike, he sends Ultron flying and delivers a hit so devastating that even the surrounding robot army decides they've had enough. Think about how crazy that is for a second now, okay? These are emotionless AI machines programmed for war, yet even when they look at Hulk, they decide that retreat is the smarter option. The funniest part is how little effort he actually puts into the whole thing. No long battle, no dramatic struggle, just one swing of his fist and a battlefield of robots who suddenly remember they've got somewhere else to be.
Stop!
You're being a really bad friend.
You bad friend!
You know what we call you?
No.
We call you the stupid Avenger.
You're tiny Avenger!
Hulk and Thor have never exactly had the most peaceful friendship, and this moment is one of the best examples of their childish rivalry.
So sad.
Not sad, you idiot. I'm pissed off.
During their argument on Sakaar, Thor decides to throw something at Hulk, probably expecting it to catch him off guard. Unfortunately for the God of Thunder, Bro had a much simpler response in mind. Pick it up and throw it back at him with even more force. The best part is the pure disrespect behind the whole thing. Hulk doesn't try some complicated counterattack or strategy, he just takes Thor's own move and turns it against him in the most aggressive way possible. It's like he's saying, nice try, but you're gonna have to do better than that. It's a small moment, but it perfectly captures why their rivalry is so entertaining.
What's going on? What are you...
So long, big boy.
By this stage, watching Hulk tear through an entire army is practically another day at the office. We've already witnessed this kind of destruction earlier on the list, and the 2003 version proves that he was just as unstoppable. I have to admit, Talbot's fate was unintentionally hilarious, but it shouldn't distract him from the fact that Hulk demolished a full military facility while barely pushing himself. To be fair, the soldiers weren't exactly making smart choices either. Trying to stop a creature like Hulk with sleeping gas and containment foam was always going to end badly, wasn't it? From the moment he broke free, he made sure to leave a trail of destruction behind him. I also appreciate the comic-style transitions in this scene, because they showed that the filmmakers were trying something different with the presentation. By the time Age of Ultron begins, the Avengers are already operating like a well-oiled machine, and Hulk is easily one of their biggest weapons.
Just slipped out.
The attack on the Hydra base shows exactly why enemies panic whenever the angry green giant enters the battlefield. While the rest of the team fights their own battles, Hulk simply charges through the fortress with zero regard for the soldiers standing in his way. Whether it's tearing through stuff, destroying vehicles, or sending Hydra troops flying with a single hit, he treats the entire operation like a warm-up exercise. The funniest part is that the soldiers barely have time to react before Bro comes crashing through their base. At this point, facing Hulk is less of a fight and more of a survival challenge, and Hydra learns that lesson the hard way. Before Hulk and Thor became the hilarious duo that fans know today, their first encounter was a straight-up clash between two forces of nature. The God of Thunder came in thinking he could calm the situation, but he quickly realized that reasoning with an enraged Hulk was not an option. What followed was a brutal exchange where both fighters traded blows and showed why they are amongst the strongest beings in the MCU. The best part of the fight was seeing Hulk hold his own against someone who was literally a god. He shrugged off Mjolnir's attacks, matched Thor's strength, and even managed to overpower him during several moments. It was the perfect introduction to their rivalry, proving that even the mighty Thor had found someone who could give him a serious fight. Ultron may have had some valid complaints about humanity after spending 5 minutes on the internet, but unleashing a completely uncontrolled Hulk was definitely not the solution.
Alright, everybody, stand down.
Even though Tony Stark eventually managed to calm him down with the Hulkbuster armor, this scene showed what Hulk looks like when Banner has no influence over him. There was no strategy or restraint, just an unstoppable force driven by anger and fear. The amount of destruction he caused would have kept escalating if Iron Man hadn't brought out a suit specifically designed to deal with him. What makes the battle so memorable is that even with all that preparation, Tony was still pushed to his limits. One of the best moments was Hulk casually stopping Veronica's enhanced plasma cannon with his bare hand, treating an attack that was meant to stop him like it was barely worth noticing. And let's not forget, it took billionaire level resources and an entire building drop to finally put him down. I'll just say it outright, this battle was insanely fun to watch. Once you get past Banner's hilarious attempt at making a dramatic entrance, Hulk arrives and immediately turns the tide against one of Hela's most dangerous creations. Fenris wasn't just some oversized wolf, he was the alpha weapon of the goddess of death, and even Valkyrie had trouble putting him down despite unloading countless bullets. That's what made Hulk grab Fenris by the tail and tossing him around like a misbehaving dog such a satisfying moment. The movie doesn't spend too much time on the actual fight, since it's mainly focused on Thor's story, but it still gives us plenty of moments to appreciate Hulk's raw power. Fenris managed to draw blood, which was impressive in itself. That was where his success ended. Hulk finished the fight with a massive blow that sent the giant beast falling off Asgard, proving once again why he's one of the strongest beings in the MCU. It doesn't matter if you send soldiers with guns, heavily armed tanks, or a squad of choppers after Hulk. He always finds a way to turn the situation around. The helicopter chase in Hulk does a great job of showing that the Green Goliath is much more than just a creature who relies on brute force. Throughout the sequence, he displays quick thinking, agility, and clever use of his surroundings. He dodges the helicopters, uses his incredible leaps to escape danger, and even takes down some of the aircraft himself. The best moment has to be when he spits a missile's explosive tip back at a helicopter, leaving Ross completely frustrated.
Have eyes on the target.
Tango 1, I have him in the rocks.
Salvo all.
At that point, what can you really do against an opponent who keeps adapting? Also, the CGI does deserve some credit because it still holds up surprisingly well for a 2003 film.
Tango 1, clear.
When Bruce Banner gives you a warning about making him angry, the smartest thing you can do is listen. This transformation scene perfectly captures the horror side of the Hulk with his glowing green eyes, long hair, and a level of rage that makes him feel like a true monster. The design choice really sells the fear and power behind the character. After losing control, Hulk tears through the soldiers with no hesitation, showing off his strength in the process. But more than his actions, it's his terrifying growls and the way he stares down Blonsky that makes the scene unforgettable. The delayed reveal of his face also builds tension and makes his appearance even more effective. The monster dogs from 2003's Hulk were always a strange addition to the movie, and I'm not convinced they're actually really needed. However, the battle does give Hulk another chance to show just how dominant he is, especially with Betty witnessing the whole thing. The fight itself is entertaining, but what stands out is how casually Hulk finishes off the creatures. There's no hesitation or sympathy, even though it feels like he wasn't fully unleashing his rage. The whole sequence actually brings back memories of King Kong battling the V-Rexes, and that comparison alone makes this moment memorable enough to earn its place on this list.
And I will not be bullied by that.
This moment proves that Hulk has a sense of humour in his own chaotic way. During the Battle of New York, Loki starts delivering a dramatic speech about being a god and not someone who can be controlled. Unfortunately for him, Hulk doesn't care about speeches. He suddenly grabs Loki and slams him around like a rag doll before walking away with a simple insult to Puny God. The scene worked so well because it came completely out of nowhere. It was hilarious, shocking, and instantly became one of the MCU's most memorable jokes. It also showed the insane difference in physical power between the two characters. Loki may be the god of mischief, but after that beating, he looked like he'd just seen death itself. That level of disrespect is exactly why this Hulk moment remains legendary.
Puny God.
This was probably the greatest display of confidence from the 2003 Hulk. His final showdown against his father, who'd become the Absorbing Man, looked like it was heading towards defeat for the Green Goliath. However, Hulk came up with a risky plan that completely changed the battle. Since Absorbing Man's entire ability revolves around taking in energy and power, absorbing Hulk seemed like the perfect opportunity. The problem was that he underestimated just how much power he was dealing with. Knowing this, Hulk challenged him to take everything he had, leading to a dramatic ending. It took serious confidence to gamble on a move like that.
That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry.
If you ever question whether anger can be a source of power, feel free to debate it with Hulk, though I wouldn't recommend it, you know. The Battle of New York truly began when Bruce Banner arrived on his tiny scooter and revealed his famous secret: he's always angry. Seconds later, he backed up those words by stopping a massive Leviathan with one devastating punch. Even for a hero known for overwhelming strength, this was an unbelievable display. Iron Man's weapons struggled to damage the creature, yet Hulk destroyed it with a single hit. The transformation, the calm turnaround, and the punch itself created one of the most iconic moments in MCU history.
Hold on!
Imagine having so much power that a single emotional outburst can turn an entire city into your personal battleground.
Puny human.
That's exactly what Hulk shows in this sequence. After nearly taking down a fighter jet by himself and surviving being frozen, he unleashes his rage across San Francisco with nothing standing in his way. Roads are ripped apart, cars are thrown around, and the military quickly realizes their weapons aren't enough to stop him. Despite the countless soldiers surrounding him, they're dealing with a force far beyond anything they can control. In the end, it isn't firepower that brings Hulk back to his senses, it's Betty's presence. Sometimes, even the most dangerous monster can be calmed by someone he loves.
Echo 1-9er, weapons are hot. Target acquired.
Hulk! Smash!
Bro's fight against Abomination was another reminder of why Hulk is such a terrifying force. For most of the battle, Abomination had the upper hand, but Hulk refused to stay down. He made a comeback at the perfect moment, delivering the legendary Hulk smash to save Betty and completely turn the fight around. The craziest part is that Hulk was moments away from ending Abomination for good, proving how much rage was still left inside him. Thankfully for his opponent, Betty stepped in and managed to reach the human side of the monster. It is honestly a shame that we didn't get to see more of Edward Norton as Bruce Banner, because his performance brought a unique depth and internal struggle to the character that made his version stand out. Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the TV Regent and become a member for early access to new videos.
Yes.